Hey, everybody, and welcome to Health Coach Tip Tuesday, where every week we are going to give you the tips, tools, and resources you need as a health coach and professional to confidently solve your clients' health issues and grow your practice as a health coach or professional. So if you are here and you are ready to dig in, please drop the word health in the comments below, and we are going to send you a link to meet with one of our course counselors to see if you qualify for one of our partial scholarships. So don't miss out. Make sure to comment health in the comments below. And as many of you may know the man next to me, this is Reed Davis, the man who founded Functional Diagnostic Nutrition. Hi, Reed. How are you today?
Hey, good, Piper. Thanks. Great to be here.
Awesome. I am your co-host, Piper Gibson. I am an FDN course counselor, and today Reed is going to be teaching us how to increase our income and credibility as a health coach. And I will tell you that I don't think anybody knows how to teach on that subject better than anybody than Reed Davis. So Reed, will you please share with us your tips, tools, and wisdom on how to increase our income and credibility?
Yeah, we only have a few minutes here, so I'll try to keep it real simple and start, though, with the fact that I started in a wellness center over 20 years ago. And as the business manager, I really wasn't in the health business per se. I was hired to build their business. So, far as increasing business and things, that was my specialty. It was only after I'd been there a while and I started taking nutrition courses and the doctors let me work on their patients in between my classes that I fell in love with the clinical side. So, working face to face, one on one with Mrs. Smith or Mr. Jones and helping them. And it was largely with nutrition, but that wasn't working so good. People already eat well and they're still sick. So, and selling them supplements wasn't working. So the basic background is that I've been a businessman for a long, long time. And I love sales. I love connecting with people. And obviously I've raised kids and put them through college and all kinds of things. So I've always had to make good money too. Plus I live in Southern California, about as expensive as it gets. So listen, I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with doing what you love, being healthy, being happy, and making others healthy and happy, and making a really good living doing it. So I think people need to first get rid of any money issues that they have, like that you have to do this philanthropically or altruistically, that because you're in the health business or practice, it's not okay to charge people. Well, that's a good way to stay broke, and need a job and not really be happy. I don't think you can be happy and healthy in today's world without financial health and happiness too. So I think they go hand in hand. And so start with your point of view that it's okay to make money and even really good money, as long as you're not ripping people off.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people were coming to us back then. We're getting ripped off. Matter of fact, that was my primary motivation to develop FDN and the Dress for Health Success protocols. Was I wanted to end the cycle of trial and error that people are caught in. So people walking in the office, I was amazed when I started handling the initial interviews of new patients. They'd been to 5 or 8 or 10 practitioners and spent a bunch of money, and I thought, wow, what a ripoff. So I'm going to actually end up saving them money. And oh, by the way, most people who say they can't afford it are already spending it on something else.
Mm-hmm.
For one thing, they're buying Starbucks and, or things like that. So they're already spending money if it was just redirected. It's not that much of a hit on your budget, on a person's budget. And the other thing, of course, is that the cost of ill health is worse. Everyone knows that missing days due to illness or injury or something, and you're not up to peak perform. You're not going to be performing well, and you won't get raises and advances and things. So just being on top of your game is the only way to go. And it costs money. You have to invest. So the first investment you make is in yourself. If you're a health coach and you're not, a member of a gym or spending money on that way, and if you're not seeing, an acupuncturist or chiropractor or someone, you got to be setting the example for your clients. And I live a pretty healthy and good lifestyle, and that sets an example for our our trainees and graduates, and obviously for the customers as well, the clients. So start with your point of view, I think. The other thing is that how you onboard people is critical. We've talked about this before on Health Coach Tip Tuesday. Just more. We talked about it more from a uh, turning the conversation from they're interviewing you and picking your brain, as if you're just in a line with a bunch of other health coaches, and you're thinking, pick me, please. Get rid of that attitude right now. It's I don't want to sound arrogant, but they're lucky to get one of us. They should be glad that they found us. We're the people who could finally stop the cycle of trial and error, help them get to the underlying causes and conditions, identify the healing opportunities with their lab testing, that are really what they need to work on. So that's a stroke of good fortune for them. And again, I don't want to sound arrogant saying that, but that's the point of view that you want to have when you're talking to your prospects. Like, let's see if you qualify to work with me. I only help people that I think I can. I only work with people that I really believe I can help. And so you can't just be begging people. You've got to really have a system down pat for interviewing. And guess what that leads to? If you properly interview someone, you're going to ask them, what's your main complaint? How often does it bother you? How long has it been going on? What have you tried so far? You're going to ask them, how does this ruin your life or affect your life? And they better have a good answer for that, or they're not going to sign up. You need to know what would prevent them from uh, successfully following through with the program. If they have addictions, or if they have zero money, it's not going to work out for you, at least as a business. By the way, you can do lots of charity work later after you make some money. Uh, and then those questions, plus what would they expect to get out of working with you? You have to have a clear understanding of what their expectations would be. Let's say if they sign up for a 90-day or 60-day program, or really 90 days about the shortest. And finally, how committed are they? Now, if they answer all those questions right, that's just 8 questions. It's an easy conversation to have. Then guess what? You can say, I've decided that I think I can help you. Pretty sure I can help you. And so if you want, if we can come to agreement, I would take you on as a client. Would you like me to tell you how I charge? This is your business, and pretty much they're not at the used car lot. They're at the Cadillac dealer.
Mhm.
They're or whatever you. I mean, they're not that you're a car person. Don't take that the wrong way, but so if you've gone through a nice interview with them and they've answered the 8 questions like a sane person, and you're pretty much on the same page, and you think you could help them, tell them, I think I can help you. Would you like me to tell you how I charge? And you better have your packaging and pricing together. And those packages and prices, if you will, need to be sustainable. They need to sustain you and your business so that you can continue to help other people. Help this person. If you want me to help you, you're going to have to make an investment. And there's two basic charges. There's the expenses, such as lab fees and anything else that you might end up acquiring or buying. And then there's my fees. And my fees are X amount. You have to have a price. Pretend for a minute it's, you're charging each of your clients $500 a month for the first 3 months. That's $1,500. Pay it all now is how I do it. So it's $1,500 for a 90-day program, and I collect that now, and then I'll get you the labs. We'll run the labs. You'll pay the lab fees. I have no control over those, and then we'll see where we go from there. I'll make all my recommendations to you, and I'll coach you up, and that's all included in my $1,500 package. So look, that's basic. That's really simple, and um, there's lots of FDN graduates who are at way more than that.
Yeah.
I could name some right now who are charging $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 for those 90-day packages. Yeah, there you go. Now, so I'm giving you the very minimum basic. By the way, and this is for you guys who are personal trainers or massage therapists or nutritionists or any other kind of modality or allied practitioner. You're not a licensed practitioner where you're billing insurance and that crappy method. You're used to kind of working by the hour, by the package. Most personal trainers making about $60 an hour. What I'm suggesting by selling our packages, the way we package and price our services, which would include running labs. And remember, you have nothing to do with the lab fees. You're not the lab. You're not going to collect their money. Your clients are going to pay the lab fees direct to the labs. That's between them and the lab. But you're going to charge your fees. You need to get those up front, and it should equate to about $200 an hour.
Mhm.
So for a $1,500 package, you might spend 5 hours with them total. That's 300. If it was 10 hours, it'd still be $150 an hour. So most practitioners coming to are going to at least double or triple or more, and that's the minimum amount. And so if you want to, what was the title for today? How to
Increase income and credibility.
increase your, so start with your packaging and pricing. Now, as far as credibility goes, you need some training, and then you
Mhm.
can hang your hat on that. I've never hung my hat on, I don't have MD or ND or DC or any of that behind my name. I have a lot of certificates. I have at least a dozen, if not 15 certificates, from personal training to metabolic typing to nutrition to lots of different things. I'm a holistic health practitioner, so I've got a lot of certificates, but I don't hang my hat on that. I hang my hat on the fact that I have the training, which I got myself the honest old fashioned way. I ran thousands of labs on thousands of people. Now, my graduates say the same thing, training. They didn't run thousands of labs on thousands of people, but they took a very extensive, a very robust course, the FDN course, that has transferred all of that knowledge, skills, and more importantly, the wisdom to use it right, the wisdom to apply the technology. Technology without applied wisdom is useless. Look at chemicals, for instance, glyphosate. Okay,
Mhm.
it took a genius to figure glyphosate out. That's super technology. But do we have the wisdom to use it, or are we going to contaminate the whole bloody planet using it? So training and technology and knowledge is useless without the wisdom. That's why our course is called by academics didactic. It's very practical. It's got all of the um, mental, how you have to think about things involved. That way, you're practicing true health coaching. You're not pretending to be a doctor. You're not a pseudo doctor. You're not a wannabe doctor. You're not doing any diagnosis or treatment of anything specific. You're working with every cell, tissue, organ, and system in the body. So back to the credibility thing. First of all, the labs we use, they're all CLIA certified. They're all highly regulated. There's a lot of rules if you're going to be in the lab business. These aren't people working out of their garages and basements with test tubes doing this stuff. Like you send in your urine and they go, well, hey, it looks kind of cloudy to me. This is a highly regulated industry. This idea of lab testing, and all the labs we use are top notch, and they've got their own like credibility, if you will. For instance, with saliva testing, when I started out over 20 years ago doing saliva testing, it was frowned upon by standard medicine. They were, oh, that's hokey, that's alternative quackery and things like that. Well, it's no longer viewed that way. There are over 300 white papers or really good research papers written on saliva testing. It's now the standard for bioavailable levels of hormones. There's that, there's dried urine, there's blood. There's lots of ways to test hormones. But let there be no doubt about the credibility of the labs we use. They've been around for decades, most of them. And again, they're highly regulated. They have their own rules. They have their own credibility challenges, and they meet or exceed those, or I wouldn't be using them. And in terms of our protocols, it's very difficult to do double-blind, placebo-controlled, randomized trials on some of these things. And by the way, those type of trials are for drugs, which means that here's a population, and here's what this drug did to the population, it doesn't really account for any one individual. And that's who we're dealing with. We're dealing with one individual. They could be the person who that drug killed. Drugs kill people. That's why you need a license to prescribe them, because they're dangerous. You need a license to prescribe medicine because it can cause a lot of harm. If it's prescribed to the wrong person, if it's prescribed in the wrong doses or frequency, or any of these things, it's very dangerous to prescribe drugs. And it could also save your life. So we don't do that. We have nothing to do with that. So they use double-blind, placebo-controlled, randomized trials so that they can study what it does to a population. I don't really care about that. What I want to know is, do my protocols work on an individual? Are they individualized? Are they going to help Mrs. Smith, who's a lady sitting in front of me with their eyes tearing up, telling me about her troubles, or filling out the forms and doing all these things? And when we go through our intake, we're very intimate and we get a lot of information. And so, we're going to use holistic epigenetic programs only. And they don't have double-blind, placebo-controlled, randomized trials for them. What they have instead are patient reports and outcomes. And recently, in the Journal of American Medical Association, there was a report written up on patient outcomes. In other words, what the patient says about how they feel or how they look after working with functional medicine type practitioners. And so the results there's just no question about the results. Standard medicine is doesn't get very good ratings from the patient. Functional medicine and our way of looking at things and doing things gets very good ratings from patients, at least the ones who are doing the work. So it's kind of hard to do the same types of trials and studies and things, but patient and client reports are real. They're truthful. They're not something we inflate in any way. And finally, on the actual protocol itself, diet. Does anyone have any question that diet can affect every cell, tissue, organ, and system in your body?
No.
Isn't it well known that the standard American diet is deleterious to your health, that it will kill you eventually? You'll end up sick with cholesterol and metabolic syndrome and diabetes and overweight, obesity, and not to mention brain fog, tired, fatigue, and all the different things. I mean, people are miserable simply because of how they eat. So wouldn't eating right have an effect? I mean, how much credibility do you want? Do you want me to prove that with double-blind, placebo-controlled, randomized studies? It's not probably not going to happen. The same thing is true for the rest of our protocols. Certainly, sleep has been very well studied, and the effects of sleep versus non-sleep are it's been proven over and over. Same thing with exercise. Matter of fact, everyone knows. I say everyone. Most people would agree that they say exercise is like the new sitting is the new smoking. Sitting
Right.
is the new smoking. I happen to be sitting right now, but I do have a gym in my garage, and I go out there every day and do a little something at least. If not hiking, and I'm going
Mhm.
skiing this weekend. I'm very active, and so we all know that diet has an effect in every cell, tissue, organ, and system. Rest has an effect in every cell, tissue, organ, and system. Exercise, the same thing. And then the other part of our protocol is stress reduction and supplements. And those are they contribute to good health. And it's, again, all kinds of ways of establishing credibility in those areas. So our labs are fully vetted out and qualified and very reliable and highly credible. Um, our protocols are reliable and heavy and creditable, and patient outcomes are the number one factor. Every FDN who's ever taken my course is forced through the course. I mean, part of the course is you do the work on yourself.
Oh, yeah.
You have to walk the talk. So there's credibility there, and then of course our client outcomes are also very good.
Well, and that's what I was going to say about credibility is that I think the amount of people that FDN has helped, I mean, thousands and thousands of people have been helped by FDN, and that just leads an enormous amount of credibility to us as health coaches and practitioners. And, most of us that are practicing our clients will give us testimonials. We have websites full of testimonials about how what we do as FDNs have changed people's lives, and that lends a huge amount of credibility.
Yeah, I mean, I knew I was on the right track years and years and years ago when a lady was in my office and she was getting some pretty good results and asked me about her son. He was getting in trouble at school and wasn't paying attention. His grades weren't good and things like that. He was only 9, I think. And so we just ran a couple labs and figured out some things that shouldn't be in his diet and some other factors. And within a couple weeks, the principal of the school called me and said, what did you put Billy on? We didn't put Billy on anything. We got him off of certain foods and food coloring, so it's things he was very sensitive to, and some infections he had and things like that. And guess what? It's a different kid. We didn't put him on anything. And so, I knew then from that example and many, many, many others, patient outcomes are the best credibility factor for me. That you end up really believing in what you're doing, and you just keep going forward. Not to mention working on yourself.
Absolutely. So one more thing before we get off, I want you to talk about really quickly something really cool happened with FDN over the last year, and that is the accreditation with the American Association of Drugless Practitioners. So I want you to tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, yeah. So there's another factor with credibility. So there are several organizations or bodies who recognize FDN training. These are like NANP, NTA. They're people where FDN training qualifies for their continuing education credits. And moreover, and recently, like Piper was saying, the American Association of Drugless Practitioners fully accredited the FDN program. And now every FDN grad is automatically board eligible for their certification, which is HHP, the Holistic Health Practitioner. And all you have to do is sign up and ask for it. You're already fully board eligible for their HHP. So not only when you take our course do you get our certificate, you're a certified FDN, which qualifies you have to pass and you have to jump through all the hoops and everything. You can't buy the certification, but if you go through our program and you complete it satisfactorily, then you are eligible for our certificate, which gets you access to all the labs, all the products, all of the goodies that FDN practitioners enjoy. And then, but not only that, you also get this HHP certificate. So you get 2 certificates for the price of 1.
It's awesome. It's really great. And I think FDN and the ability for us to make amazing income and be credible sources for that holistic care is amazing. And no one does it better than FDN. So any more tips before we get off?
Anyone listening? Yeah, I'll say this, that anyone who's a health coach who's not making a good living, it's probably because you're not delivering results. If you're just constantly struggling to get clients, if you say I don't have enough clients, well, where's all the clients you already helped? Why aren't they referring all their friends and family and coworkers to you? Because if you're going to do well, you're going to need a lot of referrals, and you're only going to get referrals if you're really getting good results. So if you're struggling at all, and it's because you don't have enough high-paying clients or good paying clients, then you really need to check and call Piper, call me, call our team, get in touch, because we'll be happy to coach you up on how to build a referral-based practice.
Yep, absolutely. That's exactly how I work with referral-based practice. I've got successful clients. They send their friends and family my way, and it's definitely repeatable for everybody. 100%. Well, you guys, thank you for joining us.
Hi, everybody.
Yes, thank you. Hi, Chip. Thanks for joining us. Definitely get together with Brendan and one town away. That's a great thing to do, meet up. Thank you guys for joining us today. And if you are ready, drop the word health below. We will send you a link to connect with one of our course counselors to find out if you qualify for one of our partial scholarships. So definitely check that out. Thank you for joining us. We will see you guys next week. Bye, Reed. Thank you.
Bye. Thanks.